Good evening, my friend. Welcome to WDW Radio Live. I am Lou Mangello. It is Wednesday night, my favorite night of the week. Why? Because I get to spend and share it with you. If you are watching live, thank you for being here. Hope you brought a snack, maybe tagged and invited a friend. If you're watching for the first time, let me know where you're watching from. Even if you're not watching for the first time, let me know where you're watching from. And if you're watching on the replay, don't forget to join us here at every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, at www.radiolive.com, on Facebook and YouTube, whether I'm here in the home office or out and about in the parks, where I was originally intending to be tonight. The idea was we were going to talk a lot about Disneyland Paris based on this week's podcast and our, dare I say, ultimate guide, top tips, reviews, and ways to get the most of the parks. And we will talk about that. I want to hear your questions about Disneyland Paris. I know you have a lot because I've already gotten a number of them, but there's also been a lot of stuff, a lot of news that dropped today. So let's talk about some of that first, and then we will absolutely get to your questions. Nick Madron says, "Yo, Lou, D23, yes." I don't know what the question is, but I'm assuming, hey, Lou, are you going to D23? The answer is yes. We will be there again. We'll have a booth on the show floor together again, as we have been since the very beginning with Mouse Fan Travel. We'll absolutely be there. A lot of exciting stuff that we're planning, and I'm sure Disney's planning. I hope Disney is planning. I have really been saying all along, I am expecting not one, not two, but multiple, hopefully monumental, like earth-shattering, jaws to the floor, cats and dogs living together kinds of announcements from D23. Christy Visaki, speaking of people I haven't seen in a long time, it is good to see you. Tina Carr. Wow, a lot of new faces, old faces. I dig it. Michael Aaron says, got to meet Josh tomorrow today, which, by the way, I have to say, I love Michael too, but I love Josh tomorrow. I had a really long, wonderfully intelligent conversation with some folks the other night about the current state of the company, the future state of the company, and some of the folks in it and where they are now and where they might be. And obviously Josh's name came up more than once for a variety of reasons. Starla Malloy, it's nice to see you as well. Beth is watching in Brooklyn, where arguably they don't just have some of the best pizza and Sicilian style pizza that you'll find, but gelato and cannolis and baked Italian goods. But I am digressing as always. Also, by the way, if you're watching live, do me a favor, tag and invite a friend, share this out on Facebook or your socials, and invite some folks to be part of the community and conversation tonight. Jim Rohoski, speaking of longtime friends, Bob Iger was on my daughter's ride on Monday. Got a lot of love for Bob Iger, like not in a weird way, borderline, but a lot of love for Bob Iger. But all right, there's a lot to discuss tonight, including but not limited to your questions and whatever else may come up. Lorraine, nice to see you. Thank you for your comments, by the way, today on Instagram. By the way, very quick, I don't even know if I have this queued up. It doesn't matter if I don't. I don't think I do. It doesn't matter. Thank you to everybody. Did I just see somebody say, wait, I want to match the Hunkabunka. My God, now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. A long time is the Hunkabunka Ballroom, which was a place that maybe I did or did not spend a pretty good amount of time at as a kid. I very quickly. I would be better. It would have been a lot quicker if I would have had this ready. But I very quickly want to thank everybody for the wonderfully positive feedback. If you signed up for the newsletter, if you haven't, go to www.radio.com. You can click on the link there, right on the homepage. Sign up for the newsletter, get a free copy of my 102 Things to Do at Walt Disney World at least once book. But just this week, I launched my 5-day Blueprint for Solopreneur Success email course for just $7. I won't go into it again this week, but the feedback has been wonderfully tremendous, and you've been so kind and generous with your comments and your feedback. I invite you, if you have an idea, if you want to take your business to the next level, you want to turn that thing that you love into the thing that you do, visit Lou Mangello. It's just $7. Like, nothing else to buy. There's no like upsell at the end. I just want to try and help you live the life you dream of. So thank you for all of the kind words about that. Now, I do have to start off and look, I almost wore my Choose the Good shirt tonight. I am a choose the good kind of guy. I choose the good, but we have a little bit of sad news that I think that we need to just address and get out of the way just right off the bat, because we lost not one, but two good friends this week, really on the same day. You probably know where I'm going with this. The Nutella waffle and the chicken waffle from Sleepy Hollow Refreshments, wait a minute, are gone. They, for some reason, have been taken off the menu. They have been replaced with Mickey waffles and some derivation of the hazelnut spread with fruit and the spicy chicken now on top of a Mickey waffle. I have not been able to get into Magic Kingdom, really just because I didn't want to spread those sad tears to other people. Somebody said it's my fault because I reviewed it years ago. It's not my fault. I really didn't do it. We're joking, but I'm not joking. Like, I was really sad to see. Okay, taps. I was really sad to see those go. Those were some of my favorite, like, not just sort of quick snacks, but almost meals. When I go there, the trick for me was to bring a friend or find a friend, get them both, split them down the middle, and then you've got the sweet, you got the sweet and spicy, and then like the sweet finish. Choose the good Nutella waffle. What is wrong with Disney? I know it's funny. I always laugh. Like, you never know when you post something what the response is going to be. And sometimes you don't need to post anything, and you have people reaching out like somebody was like, Lou, I'm sorry for your loss. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know. I didn't know what happened. Like, I'm sorry for your loss. And goes through like this whole like Instagram DM about how sad I must be. And then sent a link over to the loss of the waffle. I don't have any pictures of the new Mickey waffle with the different toppings, because I felt it was sort of like seeing your ex-girlfriend with somebody else. Like, I'm sure she's wonderful, but just doesn't look. I'm slightly heartbroken, but listen, all good things, they say. And Kenneth Puccia, this is the other thing. The Hush Puppies at Columbia Harbor House. What is happening? What is happening to my Magic Kingdom and all of the snacks? And I promise it is not me. I did not review any of these things. I don't know. Look, we all have these favorite things that come and go. And those of you remember things like the handwiches. I'm sure the handwich crowd, like in the mid 80s, went bonkers when the handwiches went away. So here we are. Here we are with the, I am not a sweets guy, but we did lose. I really liked, like, this chicken, like, it had just the right amount of spice, and then the texture from the crunch of the lettuce and the cabbage, and like the fluffy semi-sweetness of the waffle. And then you finish it off with this, which is health food, because it's hazelnut, which is a nut and fruit. So it had to be good for you. And that's the thing that sort of got me through the day. But I digress. We move on, and I think I'll just stop doing dining reviews for fear that I am the curse, and that it may have just been my fault. So the one thing that's, listen, the internet is a funny place. It's a scary place too. But when things like this happen, some people get very creative, and in terms of some of the ways that you have to just sort of roll with it and laugh. Some people get very angry, but, so it's fun. Rebecca says, please just don't get rid of the lobster rolls. So, and I've seen a lot of comments about Marla Chan, that, that is a legitimate loss. Marla was a good friend to all of us here in the clubhouse, and she's here with us, right? She's got the best view and the best snacks from wherever you may be, Marla. So, all right, let's move from there to other news that's sort of, again, this came out of nowhere. It's another change, and one that I think is going to be very, very positive. We'll get to all of it, I promise. We're going to try and cover. So Disney, just like within hours ago, said that on July 24th, there are going to be new changes to Genie Plus, meaning it's going to go away. And now we're going to usher in a new era of Lightning Lane. It's the Genie Plus is now going to be the Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, and the individual Lightning Lanes are now going to be the Lightning Lane Single Pass. Many people heard the word multi-pass and thought of this. So if you know where this came from. This is not the multi-pass that Disney is talking about from The Fifth Element. Instead, Disney is trying to make updates to making it easier to not just plan, but plan ahead. And the way that this is going to work, and I'm going to go through it relatively quickly. You'll have time to obviously read if you haven't already. Basically, if you are a resort guest, 7 days ahead of your visit, you can purchase Lightning Lanes for your visit, for a visit up to 14 days. Other guests can buy them 3 days ahead. And you can also obviously make sure that they have the times that you want, like the old Fast Pass Plus system. And basically, you can select up to 3 attractions in one day in one park in advance from the available times. There's been some confusion too. If you have Park Hopper, you can choose multi-pass in different theme parks. Now, if you want to make a single pass, you can also make these selections in advance. And like the multi-pass, you can sort of, like I said, book these ahead of time. This is the way. Now, I tried to sort of put it all on one sheet for you. But basically what this means is if you purchase the Lightning Lane multi-pass, depending on the park that you're in, you can choose 3. You can choose one tier 1 attraction and then 2 or all 3 of the tier 2 attractions. And then there's also the single pass attractions that you can now purchase individual Lightning Lanes for. The My Disney Experience, the goal is to make it quicker and easier to purchase and plan with fewer steps, and a new option. You can now purchase the multi-pass and the single pass in a single transaction. So the idea, and I actually think once you get used to it, I think this is going to make a lot more sense. It's going to be a lot easier. No longer do you have to get up at 6:55 and set all your alarms and make this crazy race to try and get your Lightning Lanes. You'll now be able to do it ahead of time in the app, seeing what's available for the times that you want in order to experience the attractions that you want as well. I know a lot of people are unhappy about it being a paid option. Look, it's been a paid option for a while, and I'll play devil's advocate because even before Genie and Genie Plus was introduced, the Fast Pass system, the way it was broken. The Fast Pass system was broken because you would oftentimes go to get a Fast Pass and you'd get your Fast Pass time, and the Fast Pass line would be longer than the standby time. The amount of supply and demand is crazy, right? People are back. They have been back in the parks, and the Fast Pass system as it was did not work. This is closer to what we were talking about on the show this week, the way like Disneyland Paris does it, right? Being able to purchase, they have a Premier Pass, they have a Premier Pass Ultimate or individual Premier Passes. That is what it's like. As somebody who has visited that park specifically, most recently, and has opted for the Ultimate option, which is like the multi-pass, and the individual attraction option, especially when you are visiting and it's your one trip, not just a year, maybe in a number of years, I think it makes way more sense. It's much easier to understand. Trying to explain to people, well, there's Genie, and there's Genie Plus, and then there's Lightning Lane, and there's Lightning Lane Plus. It was like coordinating like a military operation, and sometimes took a little bit of the fun out of the planning because it was so confusing and so very stressful. So while this is a paid option. You don't have to pay to ride them, right? It's just if you want to maximize your time. Like this, I think that's the thing that people sometimes forget. These are all optional for you. You don't have to purchase a lightning lane in order to experience an attraction. You'll still be able to do standby lines, etc. It's the time value of money for you, right? You have to sort of determine what's in it for you. I saw a couple of people ask if I could pull the list up again. You do have to sort of understand that there are different tiers, right? There are the tier 1 attractions, which are some of the busiest. There's also the tier 2, and then the single pass attractions, Seven Dwarfs, Tron, Guardians, Rise, Flight of Passage, are the ones that are not included in the multi-pass, but you can, if you want to, purchase the single pass passes for. We don't know anything yet about cost. My assumption is that it probably would be similar to, like at Disneyland Paris. Like Disneyland Paris was like $8 to $15 or $8 to $17 for the single pass attraction. I have no idea. I'm not even going to speculate as to what the cost of these is going to be. Jeff C says, sorry I'm late. As always, is Lou giving us all lightning lanes for momentum? No, but maybe I should give away a pass. Maybe I should give away like a ticket, like a one-day ticket to Disney World at Momentum. Is Jeff coming to Momentum? Well, we'll figure that out. By the way, Momentum tickets now are on sale. I think we're a little bit more than halfway sold out, by the way. We haven't even announced speakers yet. So, there you go. This is what we know so far. I know there are some other questions. International guests, as of right now, cannot purchase. There's a lot of speculation as to why. My complete guess is that I think they want to roll this out incrementally. Let's open it up. Let's test. Again, there's one thing to design this on paper. It's something completely different when you put guests in the park. When you tax a system with a lot of people hitting it at once, you want to mitigate any potential issues as much as possible on launch day. The way you do that is not rolling it out to everybody, the same way as when an app on your phone, a social media, or Instagram, Facebook, incrementally roll out and test different features. That's why some people get them before others. I think it's very smart to get it right first, test and adjust initially, and then go ahead and see about opening up. Will it be available to pass holders? Dave, I have to assume so. I'm only giving you as much information as we have right now. Again, this is like the ink is still wet on this from our perspective as time goes on. I also think there's going to be more of an assistance in education and sort of conversion process, right? Changing the way we think from going from Genie and Genie Plus to the multi-pass and the single pass system. I really believe that in a very short period of time, it's going to click and it's going to make much, much more sense for people. And it's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot more efficient. It's going to be a lot more effective than what I think is a bit of a convoluted and messy system right now. So kudos for streamlining and improving, hopefully, again, a quicker and easier process, less steps, less chaos. Like for those folks who, like when you're trying to get some of these attractions and you're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I think some of these things are not guest satisfiers. And more importantly, they sometimes negatively impact your experience because there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of education in this. And I think this simplifies the process, which we all want. So L. Roberts, again, we don't know in terms of resort guests. The only thing that we know from, not this graphic, but not this graphic either. I'm just going to show you all the graphics. Why not? Is from when guests can purchase these different products. So I'm assuming that the resort guests 7 days, they're going to have the benefit of getting them first. I don't know when annual pass holders will be able to will do it. So let me see. Andrew says, I think the international guests can't make reservations because of currency. I also know that international guests can't pre-register for DAS. It could be, Andrew. Again, I'm purely speculating as to why Brian Jones says, look, just bring back the A through E ticket books. There's something to be said for that system as well. But I think, I know you're joking, but when you do something like that, when you have to start purchasing at sort of a micro level, that's the quote unquote nickel and diming that you feel. It's something that I have felt when I have visited other places, other parks, other cruise ships, where I felt like every few minutes I was being asked for, like when I keep using Disneyland Paris because it's the most recent and relevant for me, right? We paid a certain amount to go, to get our resort, to get all these different things. And because I knew I had a finite amount of time, I knew that this may be, I don't want to cry, this may be the last time I'm able to go with my kids because they're in college and people get busier. It made sense to me to purchase a certain type of pass, then to maybe purchase on top of that the individual premier access to things like the Lion King show, because it was important to my kids to see it. I didn't want to wait the hour and a half in the queue. That $15, I think it was like $15 that I spent for each of the tickets made sense to me. Like that made, so this has to make sense to the individual person. And I think that's why that having the option to do it or not. And if you don't, you still can wait online. You can still ride every single one of these attractions, but you have to decide what you are willing to sacrifice or miss out on or not do or not nap or, God forbid, not eat in order to do that. So, let's see. L. Robert says, Epcot is the hardest to pick one, Remy, Frozen, or Soarin', because I absolutely love them all. And look, there's going to be an art and a science and a lot of subjective decision-making in terms of what is going to make the most sense for you and your family and the attractions that you want to see. Tom says, I need this type of system for restaurant reservations. I need my tier 1 food. Listen, if they had some sort of food, I would pay for a foodie fast pass. Like if I knew that there was a pass I could buy and like show like a card when I walked up to the cheeseburger spring roll cart, Morimoto Asia, Shikisai, like whatever it was, and be like, just walk up and be like, here's my card in a second. The same way I very willingly gave them my money when they had Tables in Wonderland. Remember that? Tables in Wonderland was like the best deal on property. It was like $110 for the Table in Wonderland card. You saved 20%. I think I killed that too, because they must have looked at my like folio and be like, wow, we are losing a lot of money on this Mangello character. And if other people, and they nixed it, unfortunately. So, Davis says, if they don't limit the number they sell, it will become an issue. And I think that's what they're going to do. So, Dave, I think it's going to be self-limiting to a certain degree because of the cost. But I think you're right. They have to limit it because, look, people complained about Genie Plus. Genie Plus sold out almost every day during the busy times of year. Like, people are willing to spend money, again, in order to have a certain type of experience. So I think you're right. They very carefully, and I think this is why they don't roll it out globally yet, they do have to ensure that you aren't paying this money and it becomes like the old Fast Pass again, where you're paying this money and then you're still waiting a long period of time, which is what the free Fast Pass system did, which, Nate, is the reason why I don't think near the end it worked as well or efficiently and was not always like the biggest guest satisfier, right? Remember at one point you had to like go to different kiosks around the park and like you'd send somebody with all the tickets and they'd run back and try and find you online. It started to become very messy. It also started to become very cumbersome. And I think, again, the lines also started to get very, very long as well, too. And Jim, listen, in a heartbeat, I would pay double, like in a second, for my Tables in Wonderland. I still have my card. I still have my, I think like it's more of an emotional, sentimental thing. So, Jeff C says, take my money for a foodie fast pass or even a fatty. So fatty fast pass is like a foodie fast pass plus. Like, oh, Jeff's got the platinum card. He's got the fatty fast pass. Sir, come right here. We have a spot for you right at the bar at Shikisai. which, by the way, I ate at the other day and was so good. I won't even tell you. I won't even tell you about them, and I'm not sure if he's here, and I don't want to like say who it is because I went with somebody who very generously we went together to Kumite. If there was ever any doubt, I'm taking the glasses off for effect again. If there was ever any doubt about what the most exceptional, special dining experience is in Walt Disney World, I don't think it's necessarily Victorian Alberts. I think the Kumite it's a special little place. It's a little slice of Japanese heaven in Walt Disney World. I don't think you can't accurately convey what that experience is like. It's not for everybody, right? I get that for a variety of reasons. One, it's pricey. Two, not everybody likes fish. Not everybody likes Japanese food. Not everybody likes, foofy food. But if you like Japanese food, if you like Japanese culture, if you want to have like a memorable, we were there for 3.5 hours. It's remarkably good. It is remarkably good. So, I mean, you can't go there every day. Can I? No, you can't go over there because it's omakase. Although they are going to update the omakase menu, I think she said in a few weeks. Omakase, by the way, basically means as the chef decides. So based on what the chef is feeling, what is fresh, that is, and I think it's now a 9-course menu. It is chef's kiss. It is exceptional. It is the best Japanese. It is a top 3. No, it's top 2 Japanese experiences I've had outside of Japan. The others would be one of the Nobus that I went to. Was Jeff C there? Yeah, that might bounce it down a little bit. And then there's also another omakase restaurant in Orlando that does a capo bar, which is just flames from the side of my face. So good. I'm sorry, I got distracted. We're talking about Disney. We're talking about Lightning Lane, and here I am. Let me just see if you have any other questions. Vero Mike says, I'm training for Wine and Dine half. Seeing Lou is the biggest motivator. Oh, I thought you said like seeing me now. Like, oh, Fatty Lou is my motivation for running in Wine and Dine. Seeing on the course. I get it. All right, Vero Mike's good for you, man. Brother. Congrats. Let me see. Kyle, good to see you. Kyle, you would Takumi Te, man. Shiki Sai, too. Shiki Sai is I'm all in for a fatty fast pass. I think it's probably, I don't want to offend anybody by calling it fatty fat. So Jeff C, SIEH, called it the fatty fast pass. We can call it the foodie fast pass plus. Foodie fast pass, whatever. I can't. You Tater says I could go every day. You Tater, man, that's seriously. Is it better than omakase at Nobu? We didn't do omakase at Nobu. We sort of made our own omakase. That Nobu we had in Dallas, it might have even better than the one in San Diego. Jeff C and I, we go to a lot of conferences together, and in past years, there's been a conference we go to in San Diego. There's a Nobu right across the street, which we love, and a group of us go, and it's sort of become tradition. And then we went to a conference in Dallas a few years ago, took an Uber over for what I think was like a 7-hour meal at Nobu, and it was absolutely just incredible. The pork ramen at Katsura, totally not lost. I love Katsura Grill so much. So the video I just posted today about my like blueprint for solopreneur course, I didn't record like in Magic Kingdom. I recorded it in Japan because I just love it there. So I didn't even eat. I just recorded the video. I love that area. I love Katsura Grill. I love sitting outside. If it was closer, I would go there. I would go every day. I would work in that environment and I would eat everything on the menu. I mean, I wouldn't eat everything on the menu every day, but I can eat everything on the chicken katsu is so good there too. They used to have an okonomiyaki. Now there's okonomiyaki fries, but the okonomiyaki used to be so good. Tom Eckert says omakase at Nobu in New York City is epic. I've been to, that was the first Nobu I ever went to eons ago. That's where I was first introduced to the black cod, which was life-changing. Howard Stern sat at the table next to me. He's a giant, by the way. And by the way, Tom, for what it's worth, I think you saw this. I think you shared it. I love eat. That's an actual sentence. I love eat. E-E-T. I love to eat. I love eat at Eat Fun Indian in Disney Springs. One of the best. Look, there's a lot of great advice I've gotten. I'm gonna write a book, like just best advice that I've been given over the years. Like, no is a full sentence. You can DoorDash eat from Disney Springs and have it delivered to your house, because that's what I did the other night. I literally, Tom, I sat there in my living room with this huge smile on my face until my son came over and was like, "Oh, I want to split this too." It's fine. There was enough. But the tandoori chicken poutine, and I have a mental block against that little, the appetizer with the rice puff things and the naan bread, like every day, every single day. By the way, I'm coming back with friends to eat, and we're just trying to like coordinate a time, because I absolutely, eat is worth the walk. It is worth the walk. It is worth, without it. It's so good. And the staff is amazing too. All right, let me go back and sorry, I'm very easily distracted. You know, Kyle, the Shiki. A couple weeks ago, I was working in Epcot. I decided to stay for, I either had like a call or it might have been a live show, and I'm like, you know what? I'm having a day. I don't treat myself to a lot. And I'm like, I'm going to treat myself. And I walked, I ambled. I ran into, as much as I could run up those stairs, into Shikisai. And I was like, I proudly was like, table for one, please. I'm having a me party. They gave me a little konnichiwa, and they brought me right to the bar. Same thing. I like sat there with this. It's a little things that make me happy. Sitting at the bar in Shikisai, treating myself to a nice meal. I was like, if I die tomorrow, know that I died with a smile on my face, because that's how good it is there. The puffs are so good. Manit does a private meal at Eat. I did the meet, eat, and greet with Manit. I think the first or second night that it opened. That's where I first met Tom. It was and she is so nice and so friendly, and like serves you the food and explains it to you, and is just so warm and welcoming. You feel like you are being welcomed into her home. The menu changes every single time. So whether you love Indian food or you've never tried Indian food, what I like about Eat is everything is accessible. There's nothing scary, quote unquote, on the menu. So Matt Monaco says, I'm planning to eat when we come down for the Space Coast half, without a doubt. Find Tom if he's there. Tell Tom Lou sent you. He's gonna be like, what are you talking about? But you can tell him anyway. But I promise you, you're gonna have a great time. Yeah. The door dashing. No, I'm sorry, Grubhub. I did Grubhub because I'm an Amazon Prime member. I get free Grubhub. I was able to eat I had to pay for the food, but the delivery was free. Like, it was all of the stars had aligned, and I just felt like I hit the high score on Zaxxon. Like, it was such a weird reference. It was such a happy night. And the food's amazing. It's super fresh. Tom says, I love how the Lightning Lane is all about food. No, this was supposed to be a show about Disneyland Paris, and we haven't even gotten to it as yet. All right, if you have any other questions about Lightning Lane, you can put them in the comments here. You can put them over in the clubhouse at www.radio.com/clubhouse. We will tackle them there. You can also contact your Mouse Fan travel advisor, and they will be able to assist you as well. This is where I'm supposed to pull up the Mouse Fan logo, and I can't seem to find it because I wasn't prepared. There you go. It's an old one, but it still works. There you go. Yeah. So there you go. All right. That's it. Okay, we talked about Lightning Lanes. We're going to talk about Disneyland Paris. Let's also quickly talk about the Disney Adventure, because Disney just released some additional information and a teaser, and all of a sudden, I start hearing and seeing people saying, I'm going to Singapore. We had seen some concept art. We've seen a little bit of information about what the Disney Adventure was going to include, but now we got something a little more, including this teaser video. Nope, not that teaser video. Let's start this again. Come on, Mangello. There you go. Here we go. Where the magic meets the sea and where my appetite gets even greater. In addition to that teaser video, they did also post this map. They posted this map on social, and we will try and zoom in. We'll try and zoom in a little bit closer, and my fat little fingers can't do it. Well, it doesn't matter. What we got a chance to see are new areas. So if you remember when the Disney Wish launched, we saw something similar to this, sort of more of a cutaway image, but this is showing off some of the new areas aboard the Disney Adventure, and I'll point some of the different ones out. The Disney Imagination Garden allow you to journey through an enchanted valley inspired by more than 100 years of heroic and heartwarming Disney stories, from Mowgli exploring the jungle to Moana taming the high seas. This imaginative gathering space will also be home to dazzling performances on an open-air stage. I'm desperately trying to... Let's see if I can do this. Nope. Hang on here. I'm going to... Wait for it. I'm going to do this so we can really zoom in. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. At Disney Discovery Reef, this area in the middle, travel down to the ocean floor to explore the nautical worlds of The Little Mermaid, Lilo and Stitch, Finding Nemo, and I love this movie, Luca, with uniquely themed shopping and dining options. Hello. This is the one that really got me. Stop it. This is the one that really, really got me excited. I really want to zoom into this so you can see it. Inspired by the expansive world of Big Hero 6, San Francisco Street will be a bustling family entertainment area with interactive games and activities, shops, cinemas, and more. Looking at where this is on the ship, it's very interesting that it's going to be more than just what I assume is the Hero Zone on the Wish. It's family entertainment with interactive games, activities, shops, cinemas. So I guess the two movie theaters will be themed in... Oh, wait. No. It says a family entertainment area with interactive games and activities, shops, cinemas, and more. So maybe this is more in the center aft of the ship where it's going to have, I'm getting confused because this is not the treasure. This is the adventure. We don't know what the layout's going to be. I'm so excited. Becky, I saw Becky pop in. If she didn't pop out again, just let's book an open-ended ticket to Singapore at Wayfinder Bay, where the line meets the line where the sky meets the sea. I'm very excited to a poolside retreat reflecting Pacific Islands artistry of Moana, with some of the most stunning views aboard the Disney Adventure. I really want to zoom this in a little bit more if I can. So this area here, venture into the enchanted town square, a fantastical forest filled with shops, lounges, cafes, restaurant, and entertainment venues inspired by the magical kingdoms of Tangled, Cinderella, Frozen, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, The Princess and the Frog, and more. And then heroes will unite at Marvel Landing. Oh, God. Where Avengers level thrills. Well, we're Avengers level adventure. I'm like so excited I can't talk. Marvel Landing, where Avengers level adventure featuring thrilling attractions. Notice they keep using the word attractions, and all new experiences await, and a Toy Story palace. Little ones will pal around with friends in Andy's room in a whimsical interactive water play zone with different themed food venues. So, again, not knowing the layout of the ship, we have Imagination Garden, which appears to be this area in the front of the ship. Again, inspired by 100 years of heroic and heartwarming Disney stories. So they're leaning into not just current, but classic stories, from Mowgli exploring the jungle to Moana taming the high seas. Discovery Reef, this area in the middle. The nautical worlds of Little Mermaid, Lilo, Nemo, and Luca. The expansive world of Big Hero 6, which I love so very much. Wayfinder Bay, themed after Moana. The enchanting town square with shops, lounges, cafes, restaurant, and entertainment venues. Again, Tangled, Cinderella, Frozen, Snow White, Princess and the Frog, and more. Marvel Landing, and then Toy Story Place. So that's the map that we have, at least right now, of what the Disney adventure is going to... Whoops. Let's do this again. Of what the Disney adventure is going to look like. I think as we started to see and hear more of these details, I think this got a lot more people excited about the possibility of going to Singapore. And I think this is part of the interesting discussion that was happening when the Disney adventure was first launched, right? I think there was a lot of like, well, this is not really going to be for the American market. It really is for the Chinese market. It's for the Asian market. I'm not so sure that is either A, the complete truth in terms of who this quote unquote is being marketed to, and B, we as Disney fans see this. Look, it's as easy to fly to Singapore as it is anywhere else. It might be a little bit longer, but you just get on the plane and you're there. I think there's going to be a lot more interest from a domestic here in the States perspective than just targeting the Asian market, which is why, look, there's been a lot of discussion and speculation, and I'm going to plant my flag now, and I can be completely wrong on this. I know nothing. I know not. A lot of people tell you that's actually true. I know nothing about this, but there is not going to be a casino on board this ship. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, generally speaking, and I'm painting with a very sort of wide brush, generally speaking, the cruise lines in the Asian market almost demand casinos and gambling on board their ships. It's just what the culture, what the people who vacation on cruises there look forward to. I do not, under no circumstances, do I think there's going to be a casino on board. I just don't think Disney needs, or wants to even start like dipping their toe in the gambling on board. And then you say, well, wait, Lou, there's ESPN Bet. So Disney's already in the gambling. It's different. Online gambling, sports betting here in the States, it's different than having a casino, which, I don't need to sort of lay it out for you. It just, having something like that on board a vessel that is targeted towards families, it just, as the kids, they probably don't say it anymore, it just hits different. And I just don't, in no way, shape, or form do I think that there's going to be gambling on board. Now, can that change? Absolutely. Could I be completely wrong? It would not be the first time. But that's part of the reason why you pay a premium for a Disney Cruise Line. Not just because of the service, not just because of the entertainment, not just because of all those other things, but, having a casino on board is a massive revenue generator. Disney doesn't have that. Every other cruise line does. Disney does not, by choice. They are a family-focused brand. That is who they want to board. And maybe this is not just going to potentially fill a gap in the Asian market, but maybe open up an entirely new type of cruising that doesn't necessarily exist on this scale there. So would it be a quote unquote, no pun intended, gamble either way? Without a doubt. But I do not believe there's going to be a casino on board. We'll see. We time will tell. So Stan says, as a non-gambler, the casinos take up much valuable real estate. Stan, you're right. So from a guest perspective, if you don't gamble, a casino does take up real estate, right? And some casinos, they're crowded, they're loud, they're smoky. You want to stay away. They're also huge revenue generators. So they're not, from a fiscal point of view, they are valuable real estate, right? Because of how much revenue they generate, and how much revenue they generate, not from people just playing in the casinos, but people coming on board just to sort of be able to do that. And having just cruised on a couple of the cruise lines, Royal and Princess, I see and understand how important those casinos are from a business, purely a business and a guest satisfier perspective. So will that keep some people away from this ship? Probably. Will that attract more other people to this ship? Absolutely. So we will see. Time will tell. So there you go. All right. Now, we've talked about lightning lanes. We've talked about the adventure. Much to my chagrin, we've talked incessantly about food, but I also want to talk about Disneyland Paris. I had a lot of fun with Jeff and Denise this week talking about a park that I really like. It's very easy to fall in love with for a variety of reasons. It's accessible. We talked a lot about that this week from a coming over from the state's perspective, from a language perspective. Like, it is an easy park to get to. It's an easy park to visit. It's an easy park to navigate. And there's a lot of things about this park that I think make it very special. So I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to this week's episode. Please let me know in the comments if you did, what you thought of the episode, and if you have any questions. I did see some of you are talking about the 4-night. Yes, it's going to be, my understanding is initially it's going to be 3 and 4 nights. That can change, right? That can change. But I think, and while it sounds short, there's also a financial reason for that, right? A 3 and 4 day cruise is a lot more attractive to people, especially if they've never cruised before. It doesn't have a casino. We're not sure. For families, it's easier. And if you really want to do a 7-day, it's very simple on Disney Cruise Line to back to back. We did that in 2012 when we did the Richard Sherman cruise. It's actually a wonderful experience. It's not as chaotic as it might sound. So the 4-3 actually makes sense. All right, let's go back to the Disneyland Paris questions. Do you think Walt Disney World needs a Pirates of the Caribbean like Disneyland Paris? Amy, I think the only real difference is it's a little bit longer of an attraction. There's also the restaurant inside. Disneyland again, Walt Disney World is, look, the attraction's built already. It's sort of confined by the space that it is within. We have a much longer indoor queue here, which was purpose-built because of the heat. So I don't think there's anything that, well, you do have the extra scenes. It's one of the things that I love is that all the different pirates are different, right? Shanghai is very, very different. Like, there's no other attraction like Shanghai Pirates anywhere in the world. Oh, God, I can't wait to just go to Asia and see all these. Okay, whatever. But so, no, I don't think Walt Disney World needs a Pirates like Disneyland Paris. I think it's a reason to visit both. Do I think we're going to not talk about Disneyland Paris food? Chuck, we will. And as we talked about on the show, look, I'm very sort of honest about my feelings about Disneyland Paris and the cuisine. I don't think it is the star of the show. There are some good options. Jeff and Denise, we talked for a long time after. Very, very hot on Rosalie, which is a third-party operating participant in Disney Village. I think there's new dining options to come. We also saw the update to the sports, like the sports bar venue in Disney Village that's coming. Most of the sit-down restaurants are prefix menus, which may or may not be for everybody. I don't necessarily think that there's like a standout signature item like when you go, you have to try X. Hopefully that's coming in time, especially as the studio park goes through its reimagineering. So for me, when I talk about going to Disneyland, right? What do I talk about? I go chimichangas, cozy cones, some of the signature things that it's known for that I go for, that I have to sort of make sure I eat. Disneyland Paris for me is not that. Like I go to Walt's for the environment, not necessarily the food. The chili is great, but I'm not like, I need that specific chili. I think Pim's Test Kitchen is the best balance of experience and theming and value and quality of food. I think the quality of the food there is excellent. Not every place is a home run, and that's fine. There is a lot of quote unquote theme park food in the theme parks. You could also get good stuff outside and in the resorts as well. So, Catherine says, love this week's episode. Makes me want to visit the international park so badly. Catherine, you have to. You should come with us when we go do them. I'd love to hear a newer episode about Tokyo Disney, especially with the opening of Fantasy Springs. My family and I will be going next summer, and I'm very intimidated. Catherine, for you, Becky, let's book it. Becky and I will take one for the team. And by the team, I mean you, Catherine. We will go. And yeah, I agree. I love that park. We do need to do an updated show with the addition of Fantasy Springs. I have not watched a single video. I haven't looked at a single press release, photo, video, nothing. I want to walk into that park and I want my jaw to drop, right? I'm going to feel for myself all the things that I hear about just how spectacular Fantasy Springs is. But I can't even speak to it because I literally, other than sort of knowing at a very sort of high level what is in there, I have no idea what is in there, and that has me very, very excited. Shelley said, I thought the sit-down dinners were very good. I loved Waltz and So again, Shelley, Captain Jack's I liked. I loved Waltz. Again, I love, but the menu in Waltz is very, very, like, there's like 3 options. Like, you don't have a lot to choose from. So you're not going there because you have this variety to choose from. Captain Jack's, we did. We all got something different in Captain Jack's. I liked it. I liked sort of that blue bayou feel being there, but there was nothing necessarily remarkable for me. Like, this is the menu item you need to get when you go, and that just might be on me that I didn't find it. Tom Ecker says, as a French chef, this is giving me a panic attack. Tom, if you need to come, if we need to go, I want to go. Tom, that's what we got to do. We're going to figure this out. You and I need to go. We need to do a dining review together. If Manit says it's okay, we need to go and I want to do a dining review with a true, like, French chef. Not like he's from France. Are you from France? He's not like French chef, but I believe a French-trained culinary chef, and just how much fun that would be. We'll have to pick a place and make that happen. So I heard the Paris Park is more formal in terms of food, attire, and culture. Jason, I didn't feel that way at all. We were very casually dressed. For this past trip, it was really sort of jeans and T-shirts and jackets when need be. It was very rainy a lot of days, so it was cooler, but very, very casual. I never felt I was underdressed anywhere that we were dining, including when we went to Walt, and even when we were eating in the restaurant in the Disneyland Hotel there. I'm trying to think I'm sort of quickly going through all the different restaurants. I don't think that there's anywhere, even when we were in the lounge at night, a very sort of upscale, elegant lounge in the Disneyland Hotel at night, I never felt like I was underdressed, nor that it was overtly formal. And that's, should I just do thumbs up? So, let's see. My mom and I found the Fantasyland Paris more scarier than Walt Disney World. We loved it, but hard to describe to others who never went. So it's interesting. You said you found it scarier than Walt Disney World. And I'm trying to figure out what part of Fantasyland. So there's the dragon, which, it's dark. It's a dragon. That could be scary. I'm trying to think of what other elements you might have found. Snow White, maybe, but it was really very much like Snow White's Scary Adventure. I know some folks don't dig Pinocchio. What else am I missing? Becky is petrified of It's a Small World because children, so that might be it. I didn't find it really scary. I actually think the Fantasyland there is beautiful. And I'm not going to try and pronounce it in French, but the Storybook Land Canal Boat version of the attraction there is lovely. So yeah, maybe, I mean, if there's something that you felt. So Amy, tell me specifically, I'm curious what it was that you felt. Karen, we too, we had and a good portion of the windows, well, obviously on that side of the restaurant, a good portion of the seats on that side of the restaurant do face the windows or are very close to windows. And we were able to sort of get great views of the parade as well. I wore layers last year because of, I mean, depending on when you go, and we talked a little bit about this on the show, weather can play a factor. It could be something to your advantage if you want to go and see it with snow, or if you go and during some of the rainier times of year, like where we were. Phantom Manor is great. The Dragon is the best. I agree with both of you. On this last trip, when I was with my family, we probably went back to see the Dragon 10 times. Like whether we walking in, walking out, just like wanting to go and pay her a visit. The Dragon there is remarkable. Shelly says, I love the Hollywood scene and Small World. Really the only of the Small Worlds internationally that have a scene dedicated specifically to the Americas. And it is a big finale scene. And it's always funny, I think, to sort of see how other cultures view America the same way they must think it's funny the way we probably think of their cultures as well. Pinocchio threw us off, thought it could be more family friendly. We had kids in front of who screamed and cried the entire time, which is what, kids do. Especially when they get to that certain age where they think it's fun or funny to scream. Let's see. Chuck says, I'm bummed to hear. Yeah, so Chuck and Jeff and Denise were the ones who pointed this out. I think the first time we were there was there may have been one or two other menu items, and they said at one point it was more expensive. Look, it's even here at Walt Disney World. If you remember, especially pre-COVID, a lot of the menus would be like 2 pages, and they were very much consolidated down to one, not just in terms of the size of the font, but the size of the actual menu. And there's a variety of reasons for that, most of which are financial in nature, which I get, but some of the restaurants I do wish there were more choices, especially like for dinner and some of the prefix meals. Like Remy's is it's a great meal, but again it's prefix, and I think there's 3, maybe 4 adult entree options. I think there was like a vegetarian and like a chicken and a steak, or like a chicken and a steak and a pasta. Like there was, so it's not a lot, but at least there's something, quote unquote, for everyone. How many days do you experience all the parks have to offer? So I think right now, especially now while Studios is undergoing their transformation, I think 3 days is probably enough. This is where, do you choose to get the Premier Pass, right? Do you do Premier Pass Ultimate? Do you do individual Premier Passes? How much time you spend there or want to spend there, and how much money you want to spend there will dictate whether or not the Premier Pass Ultimate is quote unquote worth it for you. Some attractions like Peter Pan's Flight will always be long. Like having it for Peter Pan's Flight saved us almost 2 hours. Like 2 hours, like a day, that's a lot. And that was a single attraction. Some of the other we talked about the Lion King show, which is a can't miss. If you only have 3 days, Jeff and Denise said 4. You could do 4. You could do 4 if you want to take it a little bit slower, make sure you see everything, go and see some of the resorts. But also think about, are you going to go into Paris proper as well? And that's something to wait. Kelly said, love Big Thunder. Their Big Thunder may be the best of the Big Thunder. It's the fact that it's on that island. It's so woven beautifully into the story of Frontierland and Phantom Manor is wonderful. Mike, I'm with you, man. I think Phantom Manor is my favorite of the mansions. I'm leaving Mystic Manor out. I love the addition of that scene. It sort of changes tone. It's like Disneyland. It's both a little bit creepy and a little bit funny. Like Becky. I'm kidding. She's not even here anymore. Do you feel rushed to get everything done in one day? Jason, I think one day, like the first time I went to Disneyland Paris, we did Disneyland Paris in a day. We did the Ultimate Pass, which you have to do. Having the Ultimate Pass, you can get a lot of it done. You're not going to see every single attraction. You're not going to see every single show, obviously. You're probably going to bypass sit-down meals. But if you want to see the highlights, you can do it in a day. But I would very strongly recommend getting the Premier Pass Ultimate. I was just in Italy. Definitely looked into Disneyland Paris. It was close enough for a day trip. Yeah, especially depending on where you are in Italy, that might be a little bit more difficult. But I will tell you, coming from London, taking the Channel on the train, 2.5 hours, very, very doable if you happen to be in London. Melanie says, there were plenty of choices at Walt's in 2015. That seems to be what Jeff and Denise were hinting at as well. Let me quickly go back. Haven't listened to the podcast yet. How much SEA is prevalent in DLP? So the last day that I was there, I spent a lot of it on my own, and I was doing some work for something else I'm going to share from there in addition to the podcast, because there's a ton of overlooked experiences there. There is SEA to be found in attractions as well as some restaurants. It is not necessarily like, I'm trying to think of like a good example where it's sort of like in your face. But there are elements and there are characters that you can find. So, does the language barrier have any hindrance on ride experience? I didn't find so at all, to be honest, Nate. There are some attractions that will be in French. They also do a really good job on, and I'm thinking of places like Avengers Campus, where half the dialogue, like conversations between two people, will be half in French and half in English. And there's enough exposition on both ends that you can understand what the conversation is about. So you don't have to hear or understand the other side to know what Captain Marvel is responding to. Or Tony Stark will speak in English to, it's not Jarvis, like the French version of Jarvis that's speaking in French, so you can understand. I never had any issue in terms of understanding story. I'm trying to think what other attractions are completely in French, of which I do not speak, by the way. Let me see. Let me quickly go. Was Spider-Man open? Yes. Web Slingers was open. There's also there's a great, I'll go back and post on the page. There's a great Spider-Man character photo op and meet and greet experience, like an intimate, indoor, very well themed experience that I did when I was with my daughter last time. The Avengers Coasters queue did have the dual language. What the French call les incompetents. Does that mean I'm an idiot? Probably. I probably pronounced that incorrectly anyway. It doesn't matter. Did I do the Frozen show while we were there? No. We did the Lion King show while we were there. The Frozen show? No. There was a few shows we didn't get a chance to see. I wanted to see the Alice show. I wanted to see the Alice show twice, and I didn't get to. The first time I saw it, it was abbreviated because of the rain, and then the second time I went, I walked through like this torrential rainstorm to get there. Then it slowed down. I'm like, cool, let me go live. I went live. They're like, wah, wah, wah. Not going to do it. So I'm like, oh, as long as I'm live, let me walk you through the park. It started to like come down like it was the end of days. Like I couldn't even see. The camera was all wet. But it's a great show. Let me see. Bring back Tables in Wonderland. Uh, we ate at Pizzeria Bellanotte. I don't think I ate there on any of our trips. Catherine says, Becky, do you have any help with Tokyo Disney Resort? I know travel agents can't do much. I was wondering how much help we can get. Becky can answer that better, but yeah, because Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea are their sort of own independent thing, domestic travel advisors are like they don't necessarily have access to anything, but Becky can probably address that for you better if she is still here. Let me go back. Stan says, I think 3 days is perfect. I went 4 days. I wish I spent that extra day in Paris. That's what my family did. What hotel do I recommend in Paris Disneyland? Again, this depends on you. It depends on budget. I have only stayed in 2, so my frame of reference is limited. Jeff and Denise did talk about this as well. They love Art of Marvel. I agree. It is a 5-minute walk through Disney Village to the gates of the studios or Disneyland. But the Disneyland Hotel, the recently gutted and renovated Disneyland Hotel, is absolutely gorgeous. Great dining options, some of which are exclusive to the guests at the Disneyland Hotel. And, you know, the level of convenience, the views into the park from the hotel are spectacular. So, okay, Becky says, we have limits on what we can do at Tokyo Disneyland, but there are some but there are some if you are not staying at Disney. Becky knows speak English good. Let me translate. Becky's speaking broken Japanese. If you're not staying at a Disney resort, a Tokyo Disneyland resort, and one of the Good Neighbor partner hotels, they're able to do a little bit more for you. There you go. No surprise. Becky loved the Disneyland Hotel. Hi, have you met Becky? There you go. So Disneyland is going to be packed during the Olympics this summer. I agree, Amy. If you are planning a Disneyland Paris vacation, there's no bad time to go. However, I would absolutely be cognizant of the Olympics and what that is going to do to rates, to traffic, to travel, and how that might impact your experience. But also understanding some people, the only time they can travel is in during the summer. Kevin says, we're likely going to Europe soon. Plan to use London as our home base. Great idea. Any tips on how to do Disneyland Paris from London? The channel was amazing. Shooting over from the channel was and I love trains. I think it's just a very simple, easy experience going over to there and then getting from the station to Disneyland Paris. Again, same thing. Take the train. The train station is right in the heart of Disneyland Paris, located in between Disneyland Paris, the Walt Disney Studios, and Disney Village. What is the best way to experience Disneyland Paris? As a Disneyland Paris solo trip or with the Adventures by Disney London and Paris package? I'm going to give you the it depends answer. So when you do Adventures by Disney to London and Paris, Disneyland Paris is not part of the Disneyland Paris, the Adventures by Disney experience. You can add on from there. You can talk to your travel advisor in terms of the pros and cons of doing it, but I think it's also very easy to navigate and book at Disneyland Paris through your travel advisor. So you don't necessarily have to do it as an add-on package, but look into the differences in costs, etc. So let me see. I'm going to quickly go back and see if I missed anything. If I did, feel free to continue to post questions in the clubhouse at www.radio.com/clubhouse. You can also ask your Mouse Fan travel advisor. They can help you book a trip to Disneyland Paris, to Hong Kong, to Shanghai. They can help give you advice about going to Tokyo. Listen, if it's on planet Earth, can they go take you in or off planet? If it's on planet Earth, they can help you get there. And I will find the graphic Where's my... Oh, well, let's do it this way. Here, this is where I have it. Oh, did you delete? No, womp, womp, womp. No, there it is. That's what I was looking for. That's what Mousefan Travel can help you get to anywhere that you might want to go. Speaking of places you might want to go, maybe you want to come with us to some amazing destinations like Japan in May of 2025. I believe, Becky, we have 2 spots left for what I promise you will be the trip of a lifetime. It is nothing short of spectacular. We also now have a... Whoops, wait a second. Our Adventures by Disney Disneyland in July 27th is sold out, which is why we added another date, July 6th through the 11th. I believe there's 1 or 2 rooms left for this Adventures by Disney, which is one of my favorites. Very accessible, and you don't have to worry about flying overseas. And we also have space available on our Seine River cruise to Paris and Normandy. There is a pre-river cruise adventure in Paris, and then an opportunity to go to Disneyland Paris afterwards as well. It is a Paris fest. And then in addition to that, we also have, if an Adventures by Disney is not what you're looking for, we also have our Halloween on the High Seas cruise this October with stops at Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point and Castaway Key, so you can see them both, and the Disney Treasure, February 8th through the 15th, 2025. To learn more, get a free, no obligation quote at www.com/cruises, again, from our friends over at mousefantravel.com. Please don't forget about my mini course. You can find the blueprint for solopreneur success for just $7. It's a 5-day course to help you turn the thing that you love into the thing that you do and give you everything you need to ideate, to iterate, and to launch your business. Again, that's just $7 at lumangello.com. And my Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World, September 27th through the 29th. I've extended the super duper early bird special until July 1st, which, if my math is correct, is about 6 days from now. You can save $100 on the weekend workshop, as well as the optional 6-person Monday mastermind by going to lumangello.com. If you have any questions to see if Momentum is right for you, just shoot me an email and let me know. Oops, hang on. Well, there you go. That is going to do it for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to the show, for being part of the community, for hopefully helping to spread the word. When you're done tonight, if you enjoyed it, please share this out, or just a link to this week's podcast or the podcast in general. Check out www.radio.com. Lots of good stuff going in there. Lots of stuff on the whiteboard, on the Disney side, on the business side. I've got a couple of secret little irons in the fire, and a lot more that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. You are my friend. I love and appreciate you. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please, please, please reach out and let me know. Again, rest in peace. Spicy chicken waffle sandwich and Nutella waffle sandwich at Sleepy Hollow Refreshments. I love you. I appreciate you. Wait, let's do this. So until next time, and until next week,